Hi everybody, today we are going to do the trickier examples for random numbers in this video. So this one, number 5, looks pretty ordinary, but notice there's no parentheses around the math.random at all. Let's see what happens. Well, the first thing we always have to do is translate math.random into 0 to almost 1. So let's just do that first. Next, what do? Well, we actually have to int the thing right next to it. So, because remember, if you remember your order of operations, typecasting, that actually comes first. So, let's see what happens. Int 0 to almost 1, well, almost 1 is just the same as 9.9 repeating. So, inting them both, int 0 is 0, int 0.9 is also 0. So actually inting 0 to 0.9 just gives us 0. So maybe not what we were anticipating, but that's what happens. Then we still have to just do times 5 plus 2. And that's going to give us 0 times 5 is 0, plus 2 is 2 based off order operations. So this, unfortunately, if we don't put in the parentheses, it does not give us a bunch of random numbers. It only gives us 1. So that's a tricky one. Let's try number 6. In this one, the parentheses are there, but they're only around the math.random. They're not around the times 14 and the 5. Notice that this parentheses just ends right here. So let's see what happens then. So first, we always want to change math.random to 0 to almost 1. So I did that. I just kind of shortcutted 0 to almost 1. But we int that. Int 0 is 0. Int 0.9 or almost 1 is also 0. So we just get a 0 here. And then, again, we drop down everything else. 0 times 14 plus 5 is just going to give us 5. So once again, not giving us a random number like what we want because the multiplication was not in the parentheses. So we only get 5, not a random number in a range of things. Let's try number 7. So in this time, we decided to switch the plus and the times. Notice in the other examples, it was usually math.random times something, then plus. Let's do this one. So first, we always want to translate math.random to become 0 to almost 1. Well, you have to do the parentheses first, so you have to do 0 to almost 1 plus 3 first and distribute the plus. So 0 plus 3 is 3. Almost 1 plus 3 is almost 4. And then we just bring everything else down. There we go. Okay. And now we just have to typecast this. So int 3 to almost 4. Almost 4 is just 3.9. So inting 3 to 3.9, int 3 is 3, int 3.9 repeating is also just 3. So really, all we get is the number 3 for this whole expression. And then we have to times it by 5, so we finally get 15 as our only answer. Again, we don't get a series of random numbers generated because we switch the operations. Finally, let's do number 8. This one actually might give us random numbers, but maybe not in the way we want. I'm going to hide this. Okay, so now we have 2 timeses. What's going to happen here? Well, like always, just translate math.random to 0 to almost 1 again. And let's keep going. So 0 to almost 1 times 5. 0 times 5 is 0. Almost 1 times 5 is almost 5. So we've got that. And then we just bring everything else down. Then what do? Well, according to order of operations, we typecast first. Well, do we typecast or multiply first? Yeah, we typecast first. So let's typecast int 0 to almost 5. So remember, almost 5 is just 4.9 repeating. So int 0 to 4.9 is just integers from 0 to 4. And so when we get integer 0 to 4, a lot of people would say that this is just, let me try to type somewhere. They would think that maybe this is just 0 to 40, right? But that's not actually true, and here's the reason why. Because the integers from 0 to 4 are really just 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if we times each of those by 10, 0 times 10 is 0, 1 times 10 is 10, 2 times 10 is 20, 3 times 10 is 30, 4 times 10 is 40. So the only numbers we get are 0, 10, 20, 30, and 40. Which is kind of cool because now we generated a bunch of random multiples of 10 from 0 to 40. So that's kind of cool. Maybe not what we intended, but it's pretty useful. So you could possibly use this if you ever need to generate random multiples or random skip numbers. Well, that's it for the tricky ones. Let me know if you have any questions.